completely crazy because she's on these drugs that are so that are just making her crazy. And she says, I'm going crazy, I'm going crazy. Meanwhile, anger, because you're making my mum crazy. Meanwhile, I'm still contacting all the departments, but I'm living in this like deluded world that all the people that I've met in my past will step in, you know, they're going to help, they're going to do something about this. You want me to write you a part, but don't help now. It's Mum that helps me with the writing. Oh, for God's sake, no one could do all that work without help. So then the succession starts. Then they throw her in a place, Roy Fagan. Roy Fagan has got a shocking reputation. And they bill her $700 for a night or 2 nights. Yeah, they do. Meanwhile, overdrugging. They then move her to Roy Fagan Centre, which, look on the internet, it's got reports of maggots in skin neglect. Well, Roy Fagan, because by this stage I'm contacting everybody. I've even rang the the English government in Australia, and I get put through to someone who I recognise the tone. With all this, you have to start recognising body language and recognising tone. And he says, well, I lost my mother. That was like in the first sentence. And I'm like, well, I'm not losing mine. Nothing got done. He pointedly said something about Melbourne, that, oh no, she can't go to Melbourne, so that he knew that I'd spoken out. With all this, nobody ever says that they know that you've spoken out, but they do these sly digs, and got nowhere. And then I got finally I got something from a guy called Elliot, and it was the same spiel. We're fobbing you off, and I think it was fine and okay, and it was all the usual FIB coded words, and which is always fuck off. And so by this stage, well, you can imagine she's drugged, but the thing is, all I'm focusing on is the emotional side. Like, you're killing her. Where's her? You know, you haven't given her a breast cancer checkup. She's losing her hearing. You know, she needs to walk. You know, all these things that any human being thinks of. And so I write to Roy Fagan, and I get an email back, and the first thing they say is, we haven't scammed your mother. The second thing is your mother has been suffering from dementia for the last 2 years, which is the exact time I've been saying, get my mother back, get my mother back, get my mother back. And then came the sentence, she is being cared for and safe. She was actually locked up in a room. She wasn't allowed outside, and she, of course, was on the worst diet possible. There has to be vitamin tablets in every single person that is under care. At the moment, I'll get to that. They're scamming. The food that in all these places do not reach the dietary needs of anybody. There has to be that today. And then he says to me, and then in the letter, and there is a guardianship hearing. Well, my mum had already told me that, so I had already started to make phone calls around, and they were going to exclude me from that. So I then said, no, you have to include me in this. It was very homoerotic. Prepare yourself. Well, I had to bully my way in, and I gave them options. They, in turn, I gave them, Zoom and Facebook. I gave them all these options, and they, in turn, then gave another option. They turned the camera off, so Mum couldn't see me. Well, when you've got to remember when she came, when after the shock treatment, when the complete change around, which of course they had told her to do that. I actually hadn't seen my mother on video for about, I don't know, over a year. And of course, I was very worried. I wanted to see what she actually looked like, because these places, because of the lack of vitamins and the maggots in skin, neglect. Seriously, I needed to see her, and also the emotional aspect. Now, in these situations, my mother obviously is English, and she doesn't know anyone there. She knows nobody. And she has a little friend, and her little friend is actually married, and his wife is in a home in dementia, and his daughter goes through literal hell with the workers there, with the neglect with her mother. But, they have a little friendship going, and little jealousies were forming. So when all this was happening, I was like, get Mum on a plane. Mum had actually gone to book her ticket 3 times. Actually went into the office. I have a letter, a card, which I will put, and it says I'm, coming back. And all I can say is every time that Mum said, I'm booking my ticket tomorrow, within 24 hours, Nori would have her in one of those places. Oh yes, Nori also, because Mum couldn't get Facebook, and so I asked them at Eureka Gardens, Launceston, to go in and help Mum with the computer. Nori went in with a USB, and Mum had to pretend she didn't know what was going on. Well, she told me, obviously. That is such mental torture, isn't it? That's someone coming in going, well, I know you. I know there's fuck all you can do about this. And why does she want my mother? Why? What was she? I mean, how far had the conspiracy gone? Was my mum a spy? Was I a spy? What was in her laptop? Cruel, right? You don't go into someone's house and stick a USB in their laptop. Also, you really need to get new managers in Eureka Gardens. When all this first started, I didn't hear from my mum, and I was really, really worried about her. The hearing of the Weinstein hearing, they dragged it out, and you don't understand. Once you step forward, it's not this secret thing that only people, only certain people know. No, the whole mob knows. So therefore you're then targeted, and police don't come knocking on your door saying you're brave, sorry that you were ever put in that position, sorry, never that. No, you're on your own. So I contacted Eureka Gardens and said, I haven't heard from my mum, where is she? And I contacted them 3 times. This was all on Facebook, so they can't delete the message. And it's on Eureka page. So, and on the 3rd time, he replied, "Didn't you know?" Of course, I didn't fucking know. I mean, that's beyond facetious. It's spiteful and bitchy, and saying that I'm in control and I can hurt your mother, and have hurt her by not replying. So you don't know where she is, so you're in inner turmoil. I thought she died, and that no one was contacting me, because that's what happens when you're a victim of the Weinsteins or the FIB. They get you thinking that you're alone. But I wasn't I? Because when the Brighton police did nothing about my laptop, that was 7 years' work. That claimation, those photos was going against Green. I was very vocal about it. He's polluted the planet with nylon. He doesn't just do drugs. I don't know why anybody would have anything to do with that man. It's disgusting that he has his boat, and it's disgusting that he has his title. It's disgusting. This is all very trauma for me, because I love my mother, and you know, to have her physically and mentally tortured